إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Without a doubt, the most truthful, accurate, and precise speech is the Book of Allah, the Quran. The perfect guidance for the children of Adam, which details advice to ponder in the heart as it softens the heart at the same time. This is the Sunnah, the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. To the contrary, the most wicked, evil conditions which influence our mentalities are the modern speeches which negate the origin of conditions which has influenced our mentalities since our parents, peace be upon them, descended to the earth. In our society, these altered influences, which may be have appeared or may have been in existence for 3 to 4 generations or even older, and may have appeared before or after the discovery of the Americas. An event which excited the Europeans with greed and enthusiasm in such a way that they established their innovative ideologies for the Americas. The Spaniards, Portuguese, British, French, and the people of the Netherlands developed in South America, with the Spaniards and Portuguese sharing majority of the South, while the British, French, and Spaniards was warring for North America. Eventually, the British, then their children, aka the British Americans, the Germans, Welsh, and some of the Dutch monopolized North America, while the Spaniards, French, and British influenced the Caribbean, with the exception of French Canada. As I detail my word skills in this intro, I will attempt to detail that there exists a style of innovation which influences our mentalities. This innovative mentality is a roadway to going astray away from the correct path. Every one of these crooked roads will eventually lead to the hellfire. For those individuals who may not be familiar with this statement, this is not extreme, nor is it hatred. In order for one to be familiar with this statement, one must have knowledge regarding the origin of the proper mentality we should strive to possess. Some describe this mentality as the upright man. Others describe this as lessons from the poor righteous teacher. Both of these descriptions divert you away from the natural mentality. In a manner, one is diverted away from the path while walking in a blizzard, convinced he has his sense of direction. Also, these descriptions are not based upon the Quran and Sunnah, but has been originated by the Nation of Islam, and it still has merits in observing people, even though the upright man seems to indicate standing firm on the truth based upon belief in Islam. Yet it is a path to something other than Islam. Some may not catch the difference because of the possession and being engrossed in the English mentality. Examples of an upright man would be a gentleman raised and educated in a society which has been designed to suppress the intellect, to limit the ability of obtaining wisdom of the particular knowledge acquired. Upon achieving and being declared a certified educator, afterwards seeks to be a leader among what is considered uneducated, poverty-stricken population, with the projection of directing them to be educated, the idea of improving the poverty condition, inspiring their mentality to awaken with aspirations of achieving what society has hindered them to acquire. Once it appears this upright man has fulfilled this objective, he begins displaying his deeds in a manner to reference his experience to be president. As for the poor righteous teacher, this would be one who has been raised and educated within the same allegedly uneducated and poverty-stricken environment, excelling to be placed in front of the population, directed them to a better condition, even though people question such individual at times. Criticism. This doubtful presentation rarely is as critical to the upright man individual. This doubtful presentation rarely is as critical to the upright individual, who, when during each generation of his occurrence, always have a background of vagueness, or people can seldomly verify the upright man's beginning prior to his appearance as the certified leader. Yet, what is the image people envision when these descriptions are applied? What language does such a person use to communicate? Is there significance in the articulated language, in the manner that the knowledge being dispersed indicates the student should attempt to maintain or acquire the language? Particularly, if the language reveals itself to expose the history of knowledge expounded upon, after being influenced from its style of sound and the influence this language had upon civilizations, after encountering various societies and informing these societies, their language and mentality is related to this visiting language. After these societies have confirmed such lineage of the visiting language, peace, harmony, trade, unified alliances, and interaction becomes natural. The people's intellect develop outstanding excellence with prosperity, enhancing the behaviors to such a condition. Crime, intoxicants, prostitution, and other vices are something the majority of the people will be convinced are stories of the ancient past. This is the authentic result of following the perfect guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the ability preserving traditions and languages to display the manner in which these traditions and languages originated from the lineage Adam, peace be upon him. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قال الله تعالى: شرع لكم من الدين ما وصى به نوحا والذي أوحينا إليك وما وصينا به إبراهيم وموسى وعيسى أن أقيموا الدين ولا تتفرقوا فيه. Allah has ordained for you the way of life, which is the same way of life of Nuh. This is what Allah has gifted to Muhammad, the same way of life of Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, son of Maryam, instructing you should establish this way of life and do not divide. Ash-Shura, verse 13. When Allah gives a person the ability to hear or read certain events in history that occurred, the individual can sometimes see the map of the earth during the moment they are hearing or reading the history. For example, Hannibal Hamilcar's family established the city-state Carthage, which is now Tripoli. However, they traveled from the land of Phoenicia, or what is now known as Sham, one of the sons of Noah. How many people have the ability to see the map in their mentality? To look at Hannibal's family leaving what is now Lebanon, Lubnan, coming across the White Ocean in the middle and landing in what is now Libya. Lubnan, Libya. Sounds similar. When people acknowledge their history and understand that it is related, peace, harmony, trade, unified alliances, and interaction becomes natural and is not a result of innovation. Let's display the same pattern in the quoted verse of the Quran. Noah alayhi salam is said, according to historians, to have repopulated the region of what is now referred to as the Middle East with his sons, Sham, Canaan, and Ham, with an indication the great Mizraim civilization being descendants of Noah, living the way of life instructed to Noah, which is based upon the oneness of Allah. Thus, the Egyptians would have known of the oneness of Allah before the Babylonian civilization was raised out of the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, who came from the shores of the intersection of these two famous rivers. Ibrahim, who seeks safety from those who rejected him when he migrates to what region? The area of Sham, Canaan, and Ham, the regions of Al-Quds, the Holy Land. Even though there existed battles and fighting, yet overall, what occurred? Peace, harmony, trade, unified alliances, interaction becomes natural. It was only when Pharaoh innovated with viewing himself to be the Most High due to the excellent splendor of wealth and intellect that was given to his people. In this, Allah sent Pharaoh mercy by sending down a dream to Pharaoh. Instead of doing what was correct for the soul, he chose to be stubborn, to have staunch arrogance, convincing himself he is the most high. Remember, you can win, Jesse, you can win. Although Pharaoh was far more bountiful in arrogance. As we learn from the event of Pharaoh, he drowned. Remember, mercy was sent upon him, a dream detailing who would cause his demise. His behavior was exactly the description. قال الله تعالى كبر على المشركين ما تدعوهم إليه. What you call those who worship other than Allah to is unbearable for them. Ashura, verse 13. What you call those two who are pagans is unbearable for them. As I ponder upon this verse, is it natural for anyone who is not Muslim to just be respectful and not accept the explanation of Islam? Or are there inhibitors which block the intellect from inviting what they hear, then comprehending the sound into the mind to intermingle with their thoughts, afterwards showing what they understand the exit from the canal of the ears? To what benefit is this to their mentality, perception, condition in life? How does one advance and excel when for most their mentality, perception, and condition in life continues to be stagnant? When one reviews this statement, what you call those two who are not Muslim is unbearable for them. For me to reflect upon this statement in the English mentality, I see cats who are locked down, people who now facing reality upon the actions they chose, like not paying bills. People, other situations where the pressure, their close companion, like a cat stuck up a gambling spot, and a couple of days later, a strained, calm, cool voice is on the other end and states, "How you doing, fam? Listen, I understand everyone has issues with money and they have to do things to survive. I'm going to need my money back. And by the way, I ate the last plate of spaghetti in the refrigerator. It was kind of delicious. Did you cook it?" When this pressured person is pressured, anytime someone attempts to give advice, they state, "Yo, money, please. I do not need to hear this right now. You don't understand." If I maintain this English mentality with this portion of the verse, the complete comprehension of the statement distracts me from the inhibitors indoctrinated within our mentality. Because was this the behavior of Pharaoh? Pharaoh was wealthy and powerful. The people viewed him as a deity. So why would he display such reaction to Musa or those powerful magicians when they rejected the might of Pharaoh and became Muslim? Is it accurate for me to view Pharaoh had the behavior of the above people? Example, Pharaoh responding with, "Yo, you serious? You leaving me flat and getting down with the joker I raised, clothed, and fed? Yo, y'all hearing this?" On the other hand, if one looks over the Arabic word kabar, understanding, this changes my perception to a much darker behavior than these scenarios. Kabar, kibr, kabir. And then the the most well-known, Allahu Akbar. This is an unnatural behavior for the children of Adam, a hateful, arrogant rejection of that which is absolutely true, which one knows his personal intellect is confirming. That which he reads or hears is naturally true and is confirmed based upon the traces of historical lineage. This is the reasoning here in our society. There exists constantly opposition to the rights and equality for those who have a historical lineage to lands dating back to the wilderness of North America. Those who have innovated their ethnicity to Americans reject and abhor the reality of mentioning historical or modern day lynching, historical or modern day segregation, historical or modern day freedom, liberty, and expression, precise, accurate, intellectual, most hateful to the pagans, to those who are sincere sinners, is that which you call them towards. Why? Because it is knowledge of truth and not a speech of emotion. The difference between the two, knowledge of truth is consistent and encourages one to maintain good character, clarifies methods which erode the inner soul of people, and it encourages them to do better. Whereas speech of emotions adapts and innovates depending on the environment. It is an inconsistent movement. It corrupts the inner soul of people to reject all things that is not filling the gratification of preserving inaccurate falsehood. Unfortunately, some of the speeches of emotions has developed artworks based upon the speeches are so sophisticated design, many people's mentality become trapped and caged inside the cell of the emotions that they develop frustrational anger because they do not realize they have become trapped in someone's imaginative phantom of falsehood based upon speeches of emotions. The blackface minstrel. Based upon mentioning this, I know people personally, as well as relatives, who would become instantly angry and tense. I can view also other people countering with smiles and giddiness. Notwithstanding, what is the origin of the concept of the blackface minstrel, which appears in front of each generation since the inception, constantly supporting agitation, hostility, targeted poverty, conflicting interaction, the complete opposite of the way of life the children Adam has been instructed to live upon, portraying deception with the idea of peace, harmony, trade, unified alliances, and interaction that appears to be natural. The deception is a result of innovation in adopting and in altering the ethnicity based upon a mentality without any historical lineage tracing back to Adam. How many people relay the blackface minstrel was directed towards the slaves in the United States? If so, why many people who altered their identity to becoming American display smiles and giddiness when in fact they entered this country post 1865 based upon being destitute and hopeless? Then afterwards experience comfortable living conditions and confidence, never considering the discrimination inflicted towards the people of color, forgetting the fact these immigrants traveled here because of discrimination and poverty in their countries of origin. By the way, the people of color includes Puerto Rico and Cuba. Is it accurate to maintain the indoctrination regarding discrimination originated with slavery? Yet no one ever mentioned events and surroundings of the mid 1800s other than cotton and slavery. I am convinced that explanations we receive do not clearly detail the blackface minstrel as mocking people for whom society had received abundance of wealth based upon enslavement. When we accept this narrative without further learning, we then accept the innovative of people presenting the positive, beautiful presentation of being black based upon countering the blackface minstrel. Accepting such a counter is also to suggest there exists truth within the blackface minstrel, such as the false presentation all people of color within the United States originated as human cargo, unchained and auctioned at the port cities of the United States of America. Therefore, we should be proud to be black. Is being black a reaction to the blackface minstrel or anything which implies evil, deplorable, and subhuman? As I present this, those who may generate emotions with intensity growing, I recommend you order my published book, Rock the Mic. To continue, the more I review history that parallels with my ancestry, I'm perceiving conflicts within the history we are consistently, aggressively indoctrinated to possess is our story. If this is truly our story, then why so much abhorrence and venom for people who was wrongfully persecuted, removed from their land, and consistently subjugated with poverty? Those who intentionally desire to suppress the mentality of people, here's a scene for you. قال الله تعالى ذرني ومن خلقت وحيدا وجعلت له مالا ممدودا وبنين شهودا ومهدت له تمهيدا ثم يطمع أن أزيد كلا إنه كان لآياتنا عنيدا سأرهقه صعودا إنه فكر وقدر فقتل كيف قدر ثم قتل كيف قدر ثم نظر ثم عبس وبسر ثم أدبر واستكبر فقال إن هذا إلا سحر يؤثر إن هذا إلا قول البشر سأصليه سقر وما أدراك ما سقر لا تبقي ولا تذر لواحة للبشر. Leave Allah, question the one He created alone, and to whom He has made an extensive wealth, and children to witness that which He received, and spread before Him easing life. Then He desired more. No, indeed, he has been towards Allah's verses a harsh reject. Allah will cover him with vigorous torment. Indeed, he thought and deliberated to hinder and to counter the truth. Curse for this individual because he deliberated. Curse for this individual because how he deliberated. Then again, curse for this individual because how he deliberated. The method on after his thoughts of deliberation, he reviewed it and revised it after contemplation. Then he frowned and made faces when he hears the Quran and when he hears the truth. Then he turned back and was arrogant and said, this Quran is not nothing but magic imitated. The truth people presented is distorted and generates hate for other people. This is nothing but the word of a human being. People who continues to hinder unity and truth will be driven into saqar. And what will make you know what saqar is? It lets nothing remain and leaves nothing unburnt, blackening the skins. Charcoal. Then it is regenerated to begin the process again, continuously, forever. Then he turned and was arrogant and said, this Quran is nothing but magic imitated. The truth people presented is distorted and generates hates for other people. This is nothing but the word of a human being. People who continue to hinder unity and truth will be driven into saqar. And what will make you know what saqar is? It lets nothing remain and leaves nothing unburned, blackening the skin, charcoal. Then it regenerated to begin the process again, continuously, forever. These verses of the Quran reminds me of the life of each individual who developed their version of the blackface minstrel in the 1800s. Each one of them died a horrible death after rejoicing in this phantom, which continues to affect everyone today, whether it is generating abhorrence or generating laughter. In closing, the most wicked, evil conditions which influence our mentalities are the modern day speeches which negate the origin of conditions which has influenced our mentalities since our parents, peace be upon them, descended down to the earth. It is a roadway to going astray, away from the correct. Every one of these roads will eventually lead to the health. May Allah guide us, and may Allah forgive. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. السلام عليكم.